Am I the butthole for telling my mother-in-law I married her daughter and not her? My mother-in-law is a kind and funny woman though. She does have few problems with boundaries and is a little too involved in my marriage, especially now that my wife's pregnant. My wife's family aren't well off financially, and it's the opposite with my family. My family own a factory, I'm an engineer. My wife has a job that doesn't pay well, but she's happy with it. Every time I get my wife something nice, especially jewelry, I'd get a call from my mother-in-law complaining that she got nothing when she finds out, even if it was my wife's birthday or our wedding anniversary. Holidays and other occasions aside, she'd throw a fit about how I was treating her as less than. She always comes over, and when she notices a new piece of furniture or any new item, she'd complain I didn't get her similar stuff. She sent a picture of a very expensive necklace that she wanted me to get for Mother's Day. I called her to ask about it, and she said that she's been wanting it for a while, and only I could afford it. When I told her I may not be able to get it, she replied that I already got my wife an expensive necklace on Sunday and I can afford this one. I didn't get her necklace, and instead I decided to get her some fresh flowers that I picked from my late mother's garden that I trimmed/organized myself, then put them in a nice vase. We visited Sunday evening and my mother-in-law kept smiling till it was time for gift opening. I handed her the flowers and talked about how much time and effort I made to put everything together. She was shocked and said she thought I loved and cared enough to get her something nice, just like my wife, who technically isn't even a mother yet, and she's been a mother for 32 years. I got annoyed and said that I did not appreciate her harsh response to my gift, but she argued with me and kept talking about how much she wanted the necklace and that I could afford it, just like I was able to afford the one I got for my wife, but instead chose a thoughtless, crappy gift to give her. That pissed me off. I said that I married her daughter and not her. Of course, I was putting my wife first, and it's crazy she thinks I'm obligated to treat her and my wife the same. My wife looked at me and was astonished. Mother-in-law replied that I was being mean and nasty to her on purpose and rubbing my financial stability in her face, treating her as if she was greedy instead of showing her appreciation. She went inside looking so upset she was almost crying, then my wife followed her. Suddenly, everyone was staring at me. It was awkward as hell. My wife snapped in the car, telling me I was way out of line for making her mom cry on Mother's Day, and said that she will not let my attitude cause a rift between her and her mom. I asked if she agreed with her mom's demands, and she said no, but I went over the top and shouldn't have spoken to her that way. She said I deeply hurt her mom's feelings and should apologize. I really don't want to ruin my relationship with my mother-in-law, but I'm worried that I just did. Edit: I saw a question about whether this was a cultural thing, and I don't know for sure. My wife's family come from Venezuela, and my mother-in-law always tries to get me to learn more about the place she originally came from. Not the butthole. Your mother-in-law obviously thinks of you as a piggy bank. Asking for all these expensive goods now that you married her daughter just isn't what a mother-in-law should be doing. So not the butthole, and don't indulge your mother-in-law by buying her expensive crap. Not the butthole. Edit: well, I never expected to get 15,000 upvotes. Holy crap. So thanks for the stuff, my internet peoples. Not the butthole, but also ask your wife why she didn't step in then when your mother-in-law was being beyond rude about your gift. If she'd rather be a rug sweeper, she'll have to deal with it if you're not. Edit: thank y'all for the awards, sad face. This your wife original poster is part of the problem. Exactly, laughing out loud original poster needs to address this. Wouldn't go that far, but she's definitely an enabler. Yes, his wife should have nipped that in the bud way back. My wife handles her family and I handle mine. Wife is probably used to the behavior, since she grew up with it. Same thing happened with my mom and my brother's wife, sort of. Took an outside perspective to be like, hey, this behavior is really weird? To make us all question it. Yup. It's time for couples counseling, original poster. Mother-in-law isn't the real problem here. I don't understand why wife didn't buy her mother a gift for Mother's Day. It's her mom. This. Getting nice flowers from someone who isn't your child or partner on Mother's Day is a bonus. Ones that they cut and arrange themselves? Almost unheard of, especially from a man. Mother-in-law is ungrateful as F. Cut and arranged themselves, out of their late mother's personal garden. Such a wonderful gesture.
Exactly.
And does mother-in-law's behavior not raise any red flags in wife's mind? It feels like this is all she's known. She might not realize how downright inappropriate her mom is being. Original poster is not the butthole, but he and wife need to have some serious conversations before the baby gets here. This completely. It was okay for her mom to be rude to him and bash his gift. But he can't stand up for himself. Mother-in-law is treating him like he's her sugar daddy and an ATM. He needs to not buy her any more gifts. And if he does, definitely not expensive ones. You mother-in-law may be kind and funny, but she's also very weirdly entitled and immature, and kind of greedy? I mean, who the hell, after the age of, 5, thinks they're entitled to something nice just because, 1, someone else got something nice and, 2, they really want it? And what is up with your wife never saying anything to her mom about how utterly inappropriate her comments are, then getting mad at you for sticking up for yourself? Honestly, original poster, you and your wife need to have a really calm and thoughtful, but serious, conversation about this. If she doesn't want you to defend your 100% reasonable boundaries and defend yourself from your mother-in-law's really ungrateful, and, again, weird, comments, she needs to put a stop to it herself. Immediately and unequivocally. Thanks for the awards, generous Redditors. To be fair to mother-in-law, I also know some 6 and 7-year-olds like this. Don't forget, only you can afford it. Unreal. I have my eye on a new car. Only my half-cousin's ex-husband can afford it, therefore he is obligated to buy it for me. Smiley face. This is the first time I've ever heard of a mother-in-law demanding expensive jewelry from her son-in-law just because her daughter got one. She comes across as really childish and weird, and his wife left him high and dry, so who the F is she to get pissed when he bluntly stated the truth? And why is it an insult to tell her the fact she is not your wife and is not entitled to the same treatment? Not the butthole. But tell your wife for now on she needs to shut her mother down. If her mother starts up, I want you to buy. Just cut her off and say that your wife will handle this, because you've already tried and it hasn't worked. Then, walk away and let your wife handle her. Not only that, but the gift original poster gave mother-in-law is, in my opinion, more thoughtful and meaningful than jewelry. Flowers that have a deep connection to the late mother, rest in peace, carefully worked on and put in a nice vase? That shows so much more thought and care than going, here's a piece of jewelry worth such and such you've been demanding and trying to guilt me into getting you. Epic, not the butthole. Your wife is a bigger than the butthole that is your mother-in-law. Children of narcissists learn that stuff like this is normal and all kinds of horrible things. I'm 40 years old and still won't celebrate my own birthday despite being estranged from my parents for 20 years. Is a great comment illustrating the families of narcissists. I learned and emotionally absorbed that attracting any attention to myself is a really bad thing and should be avoided. Narcissists will make you pay for taking attention away from them. So yes, the wife should have stuck up for her husband, but it's probably more that she's damaged than a butthole. It's also not a great portent for the future. Web link. Not the butthole, this right here. This right here. I hate to say it, but there might be a whole pew of red flags stemming from your wife. I don't know you guys personally, but damn if she won't stand up to her mother's continued abusive attitude then. How do you think your guys and your future will be? Not the butthole, but this doesn't seem like a judgment to make without knowing her personally. It's just Reddit armchair psychology. Maybe you're right, but there's also a good chance you aren't. Even if original poster's wife is responding this way because her mother is a narcissist, we still shouldn't jump to telling original poster about how horrible their future together may be because we have so little info. As far as this goes, original poster needs to take this up with their wife before doing anything rash. Amused. And there it is, straight as day, staring me in the face while never having thought about it before. The true reason I don't like my birthday or why I don't celebrate it. Wow. Thank you, internet stranger, this felt like an epiphany. Same here. My husband's birthday is the day before mine, but a year ahead, so we usually share our celebration. He's decided this year's celebration is all about me since it's a milestone year. I've been having panic attacks about it. Now I know why. Thanks, Dad. Every time I get my wife something nice, especially jewelry, I get a call from my mother-in-law complaining that she got nothing once she finds out, even if it was my wife's birthday or our wedding anniversary. Wow. Already not the butthole, but the rest of the post really confirms that. Your mother-in-law is treating you like an ATM. Why on earth does she think she can pressure you into gift after gift? Of course, you ended up snapping. If anything, she and your wife should apologize. If your wife agrees with your point, but still takes mother-in-law's feelings more into account than yours, when this is a long-standing issue, there's a problem. Not the butthole. Your wife should have been the one to speak up when your mother-in-law was criticizing you. Her silence left you no other choice. Your mother-in-law needed to be shut down. Original poster replies. My wife and her mom are very close, and to be completely honest, I did not want to drive a wedge between them despite my mother-in-law's behavior. My father-in-law is deceased and my mother-in-law never remarried, so I understand that she didn't get to have the things she wanted because of having to be the only provider in her family. I get that, but her approach was to demean you. Your wife could have spoken to her privately when this all started before it escalated. You are not to blame. I hope they both get over this and learn that while your mother-in-law was hurt by your outburst, you were also being hurt by her comments. They were insulting. Wait until children come along, and she realizes that she is even further down the pecking order of importance in your life. What do you mean the baby gets a crib and I don't? Honestly, give the wife's behavior, I'm more concerned that the original poster will be at the bottom of the list. Mother-in-law will demand to be a co-parent, and wife will comply. Not the butthole, but the way you are handling this isn't helping. First off, when someone asks you for something outrageously out of line, your response should not be, I called her to ask about it, and I told her I may not be able to get it. Your response should be, hell no, and don't ask me again. Second, your wife is an even bigger odd than your mother-in-law, if such a thing is possible. Your mother-in-law is her mother, not yours, and your wife should be buying her any Mother's Day gifts, not you. Suggest you and your wife set a budget for gift giving and you turn this project over to her. Make sure she sticks to the budget. Yeah, original poster kind of shot himself in the foot here. He knew that mother-in-law wanted the necklace. Did he really think she'd just accept the flowers with a smile? She's already shown that she's jealous of the things original poster gets his wife. This isn't a woman that will take a handmade bouquet without fuss. You can't use maybes around a person like that. They're like a 2-year-old. Maybe means possibly yes instead of mostly no. She'll latch on to that yes and blow up when she's gained the thing she wants. Sorry, mother-in-law, wife is in charge of your presents and I think she has something else planned. Not the butthole. I'm so sorry you married into all that crazy. Your mother-in-law's behavior is ridiculous and your wife's reaction is worrisome. Original poster replies. Indeed, but my wife says that while she doesn't agree with her mother, I was out of line for my behavior and the way I spoke to her mother in front of the family. You were not out of line, it was maybe not the right place to say it, but it needed to be said. Exactly. You were not out of line. Your words may have been harsh, but she was rude as well. It should have been your wife telling her mother to take a step back. So it was okay for her mother to be demanding, argumentative, and disparaging of you in front of the family? I know your wife says she doesn't agree with what her mom did, but her actions say otherwise. She was willing to overlook how her mother was treating you and even ran to comfort her. You, on the other hand, got told off. What are the odds she also told her mom she was out of line? Or did she go and cooing apologies and trying to smooth things over? Yeah, that's what I thought. So what were you supposed to do in your wife's opinion? Not the butthole. What bizarre behavior from mother-in-law. As a little too much information side note, my husband's gifts to me on Mother's Day tend to be an enthusiastic reminder of how the motherhood stage of my life initiated. So the whole idea that your mother-in-law should always get the same gifts as your wife has me cringing at the ramifications for my family. Upside down face. Smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face, smiley face. Not the butthole. Please don't apologize. Your mother-in-law sees you as a cash cow. And your wife hasn't put a stop to it either. Please protect your assets. I have some serious reservations about your wife too, to be honest. Venezuelan here, same thing WTF. Some moms are gold diggers sure, but this is beyond the pale. Se volvió loca la señora. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to be the first to know about Red Rabbit Reader's new videos. If you like our videos, please like them on YouTube and share them with your friends. We welcome your comments below. Press to start another of our videos.